It's going to be a very loud recording session today. There may be a lot of background noise as before, because there are kids playing outside, there are animals running around the house, and my wife is watching Criminal Minds directly behind me. Literally, through the door. So in this introduction, I am going to show you my 3DS friend code and my Wii U Miiverse name. You wish to add me? Do so. Go right now! And begin the episode. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 85 of Discovering Doctor Who, talking about the big one, the #1 episode in probably most people's lists, the 50th anniversary, also known as the Day of the Doctor. And if you haven't seen the live reaction video yet, you can click here, and if I'm ever able to get the high quality version up, you can click that one here. I'm having a lot of trouble, so I don't know whether that will actually ever happen. But, anyway, if you saw the live reaction, you may have a good idea of what I think of this episode, / movie, / special, whatever you want to refer to it as. But, as with every Discovering Doctor Who, let's begin with my favorite parts, and this is gonna take a while. Starting with #1, The Night of the Doctor. The short, before, or like one of two shorts that take place before this episode itself. And it was really good. Now, I don't have the same connection with that Doctor as I probably would, or the 8th Doctor, as I probably would, you know, had I seen his movie. I guess it was a made-for-TV movie or something along those lines. And, you know, and seen more of the classic era as well. It's like, you know, so I didn't have that connection with him, but it was really interesting, very intense. I could tell that that man as the Doctor is really good. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the 8th Doctor's era, which actually brings me to my second favorite part of this episode, or rather of the Night of the Doctor in this case, Paul McGann, which I may have mispronounced his last name, I apologize, but I just in a small amount of time that I got to experience him as the Doctor in the Night of the Doctor, the short, I was very impressed. He has very good presence. Not a bad looking guy, you know, let's face it. And I don't know, he just has a great intensity to him that I just really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting to experience the 8th Doctor's very unfortunately short-lived era, as well as the audio dramas, which are done by I'm forgetting the name of the company that does a lot of the audio dramas. I'll put it in a caption down here, but yes, Paul McGann is my second favorite part of this special. Now moving on, my third favorite part of the special was the other prequel, The Last Day. And again, if you saw my reaction to it, I really enjoyed it, like, especially since it was a mini-sode that didn't really require any connection to a previous Doctor to fully appreciate. And just getting to see these, it was like, you know, we're being told the entire time, these aren't premonitions, it just happens, it's things you'll see. And then we see, well, basically we saw one of the, like, empty bodies, or the empty, basically what happened to a person when they were in their suit, in Forest of the Dead, you know, when the shadows took over. And I'm forgetting all their names, obviously, I apologize, but it's like basically sort of a premonition of the Doctor's experience with that. And just everything that happens in that short was just so amazing, like so excellently done. Like, if that had been something that I got to experience in 3D in a theater, I would have been blown away by that alone. Now, it's like, you know, I may never get to experience the Day of the Doctor itself in 3D, but if I ever get to experience any of them, the one that I definitely want to see is The Last Day, because in my opinion that just seems like it's a must, in my opinion. Alright, moving on. My fourth favorite part of this special was, continuing the pattern, the cinema intro with Strax. That was just absolutely hilarious. Oh, and the Doctors as well. I just thought that was a lot of fun, really well done. Definitely would have enjoyed seeing that had I gotten to see this special in theaters. I don't know if they showed it over here in the US or not, but I assume they showed it over in the UK. And it was just a lot of fun, especially the little, like, squeaking or screaming popcorn. That part killed me. And then, the little sort of banter back and forth, so to speak, with the Doctors, one referring to the chin and the other referring to lines and stuff. I just really, really liked that, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a great part. And let's get into the meat of this by starting with my number 5 favorite part of this special, which is the Doctor. To be specific, Tennant, Smith, and John Hurt as the War Doctor, the 10th Doctor, and the 11th Doctor. I don't know if you heard that or not, but there's a kid out there screaming right now, hopefully playing. But yes, the 3 Doctors, and there's so much I could say about them. It's like each one of them brought so much to this special, so much to this episode, that I could spend an entire episode on each of them individually. But I don't have time for that. We can discuss that down in the comments. But one thing that I will definitely comment on, their chemistry together, both when it's just Matt Smith and David Tennant, and when it's all 3 of them. Matt Smith and David Tennant's like there's this, you can tell there's this it's almost like a sibling rivalry or 2 brothers bickering, basically, is kind of what I equate it to. And then when you add John Hurt to the equation as the War Doctor, it's just like you bring in this father figure, like this unwanted father figure almost, because the Doctors distanced themselves from him. They they forgot about him, or he was their secret for a long time. Dear God, they're really screaming out there. But yeah, just the chemistry with all of them was absolutely amazing. And the quotes alone that could be taken from their scenes, all 3 of them, and again, just Matt Smith and David Tennant, so many great quotes. It made a later part of this video very, very hard. So very hard. But moving on, my 6th favorite part of this special was Billie Piper / the Moment interface / not Rose / Bad Wolf. Now, as some of you may have known, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the previous video or not, but some of you may know already, that I knew Billie Piper was going to be in the special. That had basically been spoiled for me. Not so much by being told by anyone, but because I have an online presence, like, so much of the advertising had Billie Piper in the posters, or, just basically as part of the marketing scheme. So it was obvious to me that she was in there to some degree. Now, I didn't know what it was, like if she crossed over from that alternate dimension again, or what. But, excuse me. Again, it was spoiled for me that she was in it, but I had no idea what the context was. So when she actually did appear, I was blown away. And I just, like, it was just amazing to see her. And, Billie Piper did a great job as not Rose / Bad Wolf. It was really, really enjoyable. And honestly, it almost makes me think that, just taking what we know about Bad Wolf, in the short amount of time we got to experience it, that maybe, because her consciousness became one with the time vortex temporarily at the end of the first season, maybe that is Rose. Like, maybe the reason the interface gained a conscience was because of Bad Wolf. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it just seems like it seems plausible, in my opinion. Especially if she was able to be so many places at once and so many little clues of Bad Wolf left behind, as we learned, back in the first season. But yeah, so yeah, Billie Piper being back was an awesome, awesome part of this. Now moving on, my 7th favorite part of the episode, and it's very sample. I turned southern there for a second. Very simple. Kate Stewart. I haven't gotten to see a whole lot of her, since her last appearance in the show, but she she's a really cool character, very intense, willing to make the ultimate sacrifice in order to save the world. And I can definitely respect that. I mean, it's like, of course, the doctors are right in the end that, it's a decision you can't live with, which, technically she wouldn't have lived to regret it anyway, because she would have been dead too. But, their point still stands. It's like, it's not a decision that you can live with. It's not a decision that can be made lightly, but she was willing to make that sacrifice in order to save the world. And I can highly respect that. And just the character herself was just portrayed excellently, both from the Zygon version and, the actual Kate Stewart. So yeah, very cool. Now, my 8th favorite part of this special was Osgood. And I can't remember if they say her whole name or not. I just know her as Osgood. But she was really cool. Like, she was a fun, great character that I was really worried was going to turn into, like, just this very damsel in distress type situation for a second. But she fights back. She does what she can against the Zygon. Yeah, I keep forgetting the name. Against this Zygon, like, and escaping on her own terms. And I just found that to be really cool. So she wasn't just, like, some helpless damsel, like what can happen so often in a lot of shows, especially over here in America. But I really like that. She's a really cool character. It's like, the fact that she had the Fourth Doctor scarf, or a kind of a version of it, was really cool, a nice callback. And the fact that she, like, it basically kind of showed that she knew she was the original Osgood and the other one was, the copy, because she had the inhaler and it didn't. But both of them, I guess, having each other's memories, it's just like, being able to come to... The character was such a good person that it made the Zygon kind of, I suppose, accept that and not turn turn the situation into a bad one or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking in circles or not making any sense there, but that was just part of what really made me enjoy the character overall. And I hope she at least makes one more appearance, if maybe not a few more in the future of the show. So, fingers crossed there. Alright, now my phone's not turning on for some reason. There we go. Now, my 9th favorite part of this special was, and we actually got several scenes of this, but the Time War, the Battle of Arcadia, or the Fall of Arcadia, I guess. Those scenes, like, they had to have just blown away a huge portion of their budget on these segments, because they were just phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. It's like some of the best graphics, some of the most well done CGI that has been done in this show to date. At least in my opinion, from my perspective. And that actually brings me to my number 10 favorite part of the special, which is the TARDIS wrecks on some Daleks. That scene right there, I mean, in my mind, I was just like, jaw open, like gaping wide, like, oh my god, that's awesome! I don't remember if it came across that way in the live stream or not, but just such a cool moment to see the TARDIS. It's like, and we see, some of its battle scars or scratches afterward on the outer shell of the TARDIS, but to see the TARDIS just wreck these Daleks, it's like, just break them in half and destroy them, was such an amazing moment. And it capped off that entire scene where, the Doctor is blasting No More into the wall, and it's just like, this very powerful, dramatic moment, and boom! It's like, it's just, like I said, it wrecks those Daleks, and it makes me wish the Doctor would do that more. That would just lead to some amazing, epic battle sequences. Again, in my opinion, I just, to see the TARDIS doing that again at some point would just be amazing. Absolutely amazing. And actually, I don't know, I don't remember it happening at any point, in New Who. I could be wrong, but it's like, I don't remember that happening. But did anything like that happen in Classic era? Probably not, but just guessing or wondering. It's like, did anything similar to that happen? Where it's like the TARDIS did something that just kind of destroyed a bunch of Daleks? Because that would be really cool. Again, whether it's in the Classic or it might happen in the future. Fingers crossed. Alright, but moving on from there, my number 11 favorite part of this special was Queen Elizabeth I for a few reasons. First of all, her portrayal was really cool, a lot of fun. Just the absolute flirtation with the 10th Doctor was hilarious. But good lord, I'm really curious whether or not those screams pick up on the camera. Right. Anyway, good God! Shut up! Why are you screaming so loud? I'm so leaving this in. Oh God. Okay, the screaming seems to have subsided. Oh, not moving on. Like I said, I'm leaving this in the video. Because I'm actually getting a little bit freaked out. Alright, Queen Elizabeth I. One of the biggest parts of it that I really enjoyed was the fact that it made that connection as to why, when we saw Queen Elizabeth back in, I think it wasn't the second season, it was the third season with Martha, I think? Yeah, with Martha, when they see Queen Elizabeth and they start chasing the Doctor and shooting arrows at him, it's because on their wedding day, he ran. And yeah, that's completely understandable. It made that connection, which was really, really cool. I really like that. So the fact that we got to see that come full circle, I really enjoyed. Now moving on, hopefully with much less screaming, number 12, the stasis cube and the paintings. The idea of the stasis cube by itself is really cool, but you know, when we first see the painting, like I guess it's titled No More, or the Fall of the Fall of Gallifrey, or Gallifrey Falls, whatever. And it's like, you know, it's just this really cool 3D picture that would have been amazing to see, you know, with 3D spectacles and get to experience that in a theater. But yeah, just I really enjoyed those elements, and then the fact that it's actually, you know, within those pictures, some of them was actually people in stasis, like the Zygons. I keep forgetting their name. The Zygons that are not trapped, but you know, inside there until they emerge years and years later. And I just something about the idea that there's so many different directions it can go. It's like, and obviously they utilize it in an amazing way at the end of the episode, but even like in future uses, I can just see, you know, I don't know, like the Doctor goes into all these little pocket universes. Maybe, I don't know, for situations of trying to find Gallifrey in the end, which I'll touch on more at the end. But it's like, you know, he goes to all these little different pocket universes through the stasis cube in hopes that, you know, one of them might lead him to Gallifrey. I don't know, but it's just like, I see a lot of possibilities behind that, and it really, really intrigues me. So yeah, my number 12 was Stasis Cube and the paintings. And now moving on, my number 13 favorite part of the special was the peace treaty, and how the peace treaty came about. Now I do call into question how exactly the Sonics were able to mind wipe people, or at least like temporarily make people forget who they are. Which seems, yeah, that part is just sort of a little loophole that kind of confuses me, because if the sonic screwdriver can do that, maybe it takes two, I don't know, maybe it takes two of them, but if the Sonic can do that, why wouldn't the Doctor have done that, excuse me, back in the Snowmen when he wanted to use the memory worm, or whatever, to take away Clara's memories from the last hour or so. So yeah, I just... that aspect of it admittedly bugs me, but I'm talking about why I liked it. Just the idea that the Doctors were able to find a solution that brought about this great peace treaty that was able to bring, you know, Kate Stewart and the Zygons to, you know, a source of peace being able to get along and live on the Earth together, basically thwarting the Zygons' plan and allowing, you know, all of the UK to not be exploded by a nuke owned by UNIT. So yeah, I really appreciated that scene. Again, I guess it's one of the weaker things I enjoyed about it, since it does have a pretty, I don't know, fair annoyance for me that actually wasn't a huge annoyance until I started talking about it just now. But yeah, it's still up there for sure. Now moving on, my number 14 favorite part of the special was, and I know this may annoy some, Clara. Now admittedly, Clara had a pretty small role in this episode, but despite having a small role, despite being, you know, very in the background, she had a big moment, especially her moments with the War Doctor, with John Hurt. Those were some very powerful, subtly emotional moments that just worked so well. And then especially, you know, when Clara is crying and the doctors are getting ready to set off the moment and, you know, destroy Gallifrey and the Daleks. Just like, you know, the moment where she reminds the Doctor of who he is, what his name means. I found that to be really powerful and really cool. Now, again, some people in the audience don't really like Clara, some people hate Clara, but for me at least, while it was a small role in this special, I feel like that moment in particular was a very powerful one, and one that was particularly special. So yeah, there you go. Alright, now moving on, my number 15 favorite part of this episode, and this should be no surprise, all 12 Doctors coming in and getting to see all those little bits and pieces. Like, you know, it was stock footage from the show, but just getting to see these little moments of the Doctors, like, you know, seemingly working together to save Gallifrey. Which brings me to my number 16. No, sir. All 13. Capaldi! The intensity in those eyes, and that was just an awesome moment. And that was, well, other than when he, you know, was back in season 4, was it? Donna's season? Yeah. You know, other than when, not the Doctor, but he was a character back then, it's like, you know, this was basically his first appearance, as little of it as there may have been, as the next Doctor. And that was just such a cool moment, so amazing. And just the entire sequence, that entire sequence where they go back and they save Gallifrey and, you know, well, you know, save it / put it into stasis. Oh, just the music, the words said, everything was perfect. And I fanboyed. I haven't even experienced half of the Doctors, maybe a fourth of the Doctors. Yeah, about a fourth of the Doctors so far, to some slight degree. But my God, it was just such an amazing scene. So cool. So yes, that is why number 15 and 16 are all 12 Doctors. No, sir, all 13. Just great, amazing moments for me in this special. Now, I still have 2 more, admittedly. And the number 17 favorite part is Tom Baker in the gallery. Now, obviously, I haven't experienced Tom Baker as the Doctor yet, but getting to see him was just such a very cool, very somber moment. And it was just so much fun to get to experience the Doctor, one of the classic Doctors, in the role of the Doctor, but sort of out of time, or outside his own time, seemingly. But yeah, I really like that. And it gave this idea that although Trenzalore is supposedly the Doctor's final resting place, his grave, that if the 4th Doctor is a curator of a gallery, then maybe the Doctor's timeline can be rewritten. Maybe the Doctor's timeline doesn't have to end at Trenzalore, and hopefully it won't, you know, because otherwise whenever Trenzalore comes up in the future, it'd be like, I wonder if they're about to cancel the show. So yeah, that was oh, that was just such a great moment. And again, I'm really looking forward to seeing Tom Baker's run of the show in the classic era. And finally, my last favorite part of the special, and it really encapsulates everything. It encapsulates the big moment with all of the Doctors. It encapsulates the future of the Doctor. Just everything about the special. Gallifrey Falls no more. The debated name with that picture, either No More or Gallifrey Falls, when in fact, it was all one title, Gallifrey Falls no more. And I don't know, I could probably bring up a live stream and discuss with you all and just try and come up with ideas of how that might work, how all of that might work together. It's like, the different theories behind Gallifrey Falls no more, what those words mean in the grand scheme of Doctor Who. More screaming. But yeah, Gallifrey Falls no more. What else can I say? Now, and this may disappoint some of you all, because I know how much some people just love, absolutely love this episode. And obviously I'm saving my full overall thoughts for the end, but I do have some annoyances. I would say that all of these are nitpicks. I would say that, but they are annoyances, and I do feel that they should be commented upon, at the very least. That doesn't mean that they make the episode bad by any means, but I do feel like they should be commented upon. So, there's 3 of them. Starting with number 1, no Christopher Eccleston. Now, we do get a little bit of stock footage of him as the Doctor, and we get that shot of him posing, which I think was from promotional material, like at the very last scene. But the fact that Christopher Eccleston wasn't there, that he didn't actually participate in this 50th anniversary special, does bother me a bit. But, as I mentioned in the live stream, I completely understand his reasons. Like, I don't know whether or not they invited him to come along and be part of it, but the fact that he wasn't, and the fact that he has distanced himself from the show for his own reasons, I completely understand. But the fact that he wasn't truly there, that we didn't at least get, we did get Eccleston's eyes. When John Hurt was going through the transformation, or the regeneration, we did get Eccleston's eyes. I did notice that. Maybe I'm just saying things, but I did notice that. But I've also seen, this fan-made video where it shows Eccleston's face being revealed in full. I don't know if it was something Eccleston would have needed to sign off on or what, but if they could have at least just done that, that would have made it so much more powerful than it already was. It was already a powerful scene, but it just would have made it so much better. So yeah, the fact that Eccleston wasn't a part of it, and actually, no, I forgot I wrote here, it's not an annoyance, it's a disappointment. So yes, you already would have seen that because I fixed I've written the caption properly. But it's not an annoyance, it's a disappointment that he wasn't part of it. For whatever the reason, it may have been, the fact that he wasn't fully a part of the 50th anniversary did disappoint me. Now, my second disappointment / nitpick with the special was that the Zygons, while interesting, were not a very threatening foe. It almost seemed like Unit, to a point, was more of a threat than the Zygons. Yeah. Because I don't know, it's just it didn't seem like they actually posed a true threat. Even when they got Kate, they didn't kill her or anything like that. She was being hung up by these weird sticky entrails, and the one of the Zygons turned into Osgood, and then just stood there and told her to give it her inhaler. I don't know, other than the ability to copy human form, well, and animal form, apparently, since one of them was a horse. But yeah, it's just they didn't seem overly threatening. Like the only time where they really seemed like a huge threat to me was when one of them took over the body of Queen Elizabeth I, or like, copied Queen Elizabeth I, because had Queen Elizabeth, been completely replaced in history by a Zygon, that would have some major effects in the future timeline. But it's not the case, so yeah, they just weren't really intimidating. The episode was not about them at all. They were basically just kind of filler to help kind of move along other parts of the plot, I guess. But yeah, the Zygons as a whole, I kind of wish they had brought on one of the truly classic enemies. Unless the Zygons are a classic enemy and I don't know about it. But yeah, I just wish they had brought on one of the classic enemies almost to be the true foe, or to some degree, whether it's a Dalek or a Cyberman, something along those lines, because the Zygons were just overall a disappointment. Now my third and final annoyance / disappointment with this episode, and again, a nitpick, but at the end, everyone forgets except 11. With everything that happened, for no, the explanation we're given is that the timelines can't maintain it, which is questionable logic to me at the best. But I don't know, it seems like in my mind, if all of those doctors had to forget, or they could no longer remember the events and would forever think that they had destroyed, or the Doctor had destroyed Gallifrey, why wouldn't that have also affected Eleven's memory? I don't know, it seems really strange, and just seems like one of those moments where they were just like, okay, well, we can't completely change the timeline, so we're going to have all the Doctors before Matt Smith forget about these events transpiring. So yeah, if I missed something, if there's further explanation somewhere, please do let me know, because the logic of that is just, it's disappointing in that it feels like a major cop-out, or it just feels like they ran into a wall and they're just like, oh, okay, well, we'll do this and, instant fix or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, the timelines just can't maintain everyone's memories. Right. Anyway. So yeah, those are my 3 disappointments. Now, I'm sure there were probably some great moments. There may have been some not so great moments that I may have missed. So, as always, please do leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear, some of your favorite moments, whether you agree with mine, if there's anything that you think I should have included, anything that stood out most of all to you, or even, something that disappointed you about, like something else that maybe plot-wise didn't make sense, or just kind of like, stuck out like a sore thumb to you. Let's leave Clara out of it, because I know I'm watching you. I know some people would just say, it's like, no, Clara was the worst part of this. Let's just leave that out. So other than Clara, if you had any disappointments with the episode, let me know those. Or even with Night of the Doctor or The Last Day, if you had any favorite parts or issues about those, let me know. It would definitely be interesting to hear your thoughts. Now, moving on, because of course I have some other parts to hit on before giving my overall thoughts of the episode / special. The track of the episode. Now, this is one of those things where I can honestly say that every single track on the soundtrack for this episode is really good. Like, some were slightly lower in quality in my opinion, or not as enjoyable, but on the whole, this is one of those times when every single song was at the very least good, if not amazing. And I had to re-listen through 3 times, because I was basically just ready to say, the whole soundtrack. Like, the whole soundtrack is the track of the episode. But one stood out the most to me, and I think a lot of you could probably guess what it is and why. Or at least you know the tune if you don't know the name of it. But the track of the episode is titled "This Time There's Three of Us, The Majestic Tale." And it is the theme that is playing from the moment the doctors realize that they can try something else, that there's been something they've been thinking about trying all those years, all those centuries. And then up to the point where they go out, all the doctors converge and they save Gallifrey. That is, "This time there's three of us, the majestic tale." That song, or that track, just brings to mind those scenes. And so do some of the other tracks as well. But for as powerful as a scene as that was, it, just from my perspective, I couldn't pick a better track. Like, it's the one that once I realized where it came from, once I realized what that track was, I replayed it over and over again. And it's just so good. It's so amazing. In fact, I'm probably going to be listening to it while I'm editing this video. So yeah, there's that. There's your track of the special episode, whatever you want to refer to it as. And now the quote of the episode. Yet again, this both in both of the minisodes and the special itself, there were so many great quotes. There were so many great lines that it was almost impossible to just try and whittle it down to one. And even now that I've made my choices, I did pick a runner, like not a runner-up, but an honorable mention because it made me laugh, and then like an actual quote of the episode. And I'm not sure that they're actually my favorite ones. It's like, you know, there are just so many great lines, but the ones I chose are this. The honorable mention goes to a line from the 10th Doctor fairly early on when he realizes about the Zygons? Yeah, the Zygons. And he sees a bunny, or he runs by a bunny, he turns around and he points at it and says this: "Whatever you've got planned, forget it. I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castaboros. I'm the oncoming storm, the bringer of darkness, and you are basically just a rabbit, aren't you?" Okay, carry on. Just a general warning. That scene was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now that is one, I guess that's technically a scene that was spoiled for me because I had seen an animated GIF set of it on Tumblr quite a while back. It was probably shortly after this special actually came out. Again, not knowing the context at all, but it made me crack up then, and it made me crack up now while I was watching. It was just such a great quote. It was one that I just had to put here in the review. I love it that much. All right, now, as for my currently selected quote of the episode, it's actually the final lines from the Day of the Doctor. The final lines from the 11th Doctor. And it goes as such. "Clark sometimes asks me if I dream. Of course I dream, I tell her. Everybody dreams. But what do you dream about, she'll ask. The same thing everybody dreams about, I tell her. I dream about where I'm going. She always laughs at that. But you're not going anywhere. You're just wandering about. That's not true. Not anymore. I have a new destination. My journey is the same as yours, the same as anyone's. It's taken me so many years, so many lifetimes, but at last I know where I'm going. Where I've always been going. Home. The long way around." And even reading it just now, it gave me chills. It's just such an amazing thought. And the idea that from here on out, you know, for the most part, I'm sure, the Doctor's primary quest is going to be finding Gallifrey. And I love that idea. There's so many things, there's so many stories, so many places they can go with that idea because no one knows where Gallifrey is. And, just that quote is so good. And it's one of a gigantic list of amazing quotes. So, I'm sure some of you have some different thoughts on it as well. If you have your own favorite quote aside from that, and I'm sure you do, let me know what it is down in the comments because, there's so many great quotes and I'd love to hear what some of yours were. Alright, now, before I get to my overall thoughts, I do have a theory. And this theory was sort of sparked by a comment that I remember seeing in the live stream. And the comment basically said that Moffat has gone on record, or I guess in an interview, he said that what transpires in this special is what always transpired. Like, Gallifrey was never really destroyed. The Doctor never actually destroyed Gallifrey. That this is what happened all along. The Doctor just didn't remember it. Which I'm going to say no. My theory is that because of what happens in this special, time has been rewritten. So in a way, it always happened that way, as of now. But before we got to experience it, before these events transpired, the Doctor actually did destroy Gallifrey. What he originally thought happened is what happened, until something occurred to cause a rift in those events, to change the timeline. And I say that because the best example I can think of is that, yes, he's the head writer. He hasn't always been the head writer, so, I mean, that may have been something Russell T Davies had in mind all along, I don't know. But the head writer of Doctor Who says it always happened that way. At the same time, the creator of the .gif file says it's pronounced GIF. I have always, and always will, refer to it as a GIF. Because it's not peanut butter, and it's not spelled with a J. So, and I know this is very presumptuous of me, very presumptuous, but my theory is, if the creator of a file extension can be wrong, the head writer of the show can be wrong. So there you go. Yeah, in summary, Moffat is right, but at the same time he's not. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. There you go. Now, as for my overall final thoughts on this special, well, not just the special being the two prequels and the episode itself, I can honestly say, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is my favorite episode. That this episode right here, this special, is my favorite. Now, admittedly, if the day ever comes where I rank my top 10 episodes, I will put a lot of thought into it. I will rewatch the episodes that I consider my favorites, including this one, and be as critical as I can. But as of this time, I can honestly say that I feel this episode, The Day of the Doctor, is my favorite Doctor Who episode that I've watched so far. I don't know how to put it any better than that. And this episode has been rather long, so I'm sure you don't want me to say too much more about it. But yes, just an absolutely amazing episode. I did have some disappointments / annoyances with it. I admit that they're likely all very much nitpicks, but that doesn't take away from how awesome I found the episode itself. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Everyone, I've already mentioned to mention some of your favorite parts, some of your least favorite parts and quotes, blah blah blah, down in the comments below. So yeah, please do that. Please do that. Now that I've reached the 50th anniversary, and coming up on Matt's final episode as the Doctor, like, I don't know, I feel really pumped to finally get this done. The next season will be starting in September. That means I got maybe 2 months to get completely caught up. It may be unlikely I'll get completely caught up, but I will at the very least get caught up during the 9th season. But moving on from there, it's time to start thinking about the next episode, which is The Time of the Doctor. Again, Matt Smith's final episode, and yes, there will be a reaction video. It won't be a live stream, which some people may be thankful for. Live stream reaction videos will be rare. I will say that they're going to be rare. But tomorrow I will be recording the reaction video, which this is being recorded on Tuesday, the day before this review will be hopefully going live on Wednesday. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so I'll be recording not the review, I'll be recording the reaction video tomorrow and the review very shortly thereafter. But yeah, other than that, everyone, thank you very much for joining me for 85 episodes of Discovering Doctor Who so far. In addition to the reaction videos and some of the little mini-sodes I've done, you all are absolutely amazing, and you all are such a great community, and I'm very thankful for you. Now, until next time, everyone, I'm Papa Ken. Alonzi!